Getting ready for an am reading video. Walking on the Ravenna River. Hi, I'm going to do an am reading today. I've got a lot of books that I've started and haven't finished, so I'm at varying places in all of these. And it's quite a mix, but probably heavy on the nonfiction side. So last night I picked up Paul Kalanithi's When Breath Becomes Air. My husband got this for me. He thought I would like it, and so far I really am enjoying it. I actually wasn't expecting to like it, but he's got some really good phrases in there. And When Breath Becomes Air is a death memoir. I don't know how to describe that genre of writing. The author, Paul Kalanithi, was diagnosed with terminal cancer towards the end of his residency, and this book is about what was going through his mind as he prepared to die. But it's not as morbid as it sounds. It's really a quick read. I'm about a third or more of the way through, and yeah, I have to agree with the bestseller list this time. I had lent my friend A People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn, and he read the first 4 or so chapters, and we talked about them this week over tea. And I had read the first 4 chapters, and he put it interestingly that Zinn's first chapter, where he's really more laying out his purpose for writing and his approach to doing history, he approaches it, makes it compelling without novelizing it. It's a straight history, but it's not your typical U.S. history. I'd never had to read it, even though I have a bachelor's and a master's in history. It was never something that I was assigned. I didn't kind of typically focus on American history anyway, so I'm really enjoying going through it slowly. I also picked up randomly from the library Cannibals and Missionaries by McCarthy. This is a fiction. I don't know. I'm about a quarter or a third of the way through, and I feel like it's somewhat historical fiction, at least at this point. But it's really character driven. So Cannibals and Missionaries is about a group of people in the late 1970s who are going to go on an observational mission to the Middle East, and their plane gets hijacked. That was a very common thing at the time, which is something that those of us from the 9/11 generation don't necessarily realize, but it was a common thing at the time. And so I'm really interested in the way that McCarthy is exploring each of the different characters' thoughts. They're very different people, and she gets into their heads so well. So I'm hoping to get through most of that this weekend. for a change of pace from the heavier history and nonfiction reads, I picked up Beth Lewis's The Wolf Road. I guess it's a dystopian, futuristic, end of the world type book that follows a young girl named Elka as she runs away from her pseudo-adoptive father once she finds out who he might really be. I'm actually pretty disappointed with it. I'm again a little more than a third of the way through, but it's just so predictable, and it feels very forced. And I was surprised because I'd only heard good things about it. I might pick it up again, or I might DNF it. I'm not sure at this point. But it's set, I feel like it's set in British Columbia. So at least it's a different setting for me. As I mentioned, I'm also working through Isabel Wilkerson's The Warmth of Other Suns. It's about the Great Migration of African Americans from the U.S. South to anywhere except the South, typically the American West and the American North, for the long period 1915 to 1975. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm almost done because there are a lot of footnotes at the end, and I'm hoping to finish it. And the last pick is Le Piège, Diabolique. It's a Blake and Mortimer comic book that my sister had picked up for me when she was in La Roche-Guyon, France, for a weekend getaway during a study period. And this particular comic issue, I guess, is about, it explores the history of La Roche-Guyon, the place, and what it meant through history, in a rather amusing, although cliched way. It's still fun. It's just a fun little read. It is in French, so that's why I've had to go through it a little more slowly. I just get a little bit tired. I'm out of practice with my French reading. So that's what I am reading this weekend. I'll try to do that thing where you put them all up. These are super heavy, a lot of chunkers, so let's try this.